Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at S-Class Tara, who is going to be the War of Champions 4 special limited edition reward. We have had limited edition rewards in the past. We did have Georgia for the last War of Champions, we did have Steve for War of Champions 2, and then for War of Champions 1 we of course had 6-star version of Lily. Now Tara visually looks kind of, I'm gonna just say ragtag. She looks like she's wearing like 4 different pairs of trousers sewn together, which is fine, you know, this is absolutely fine, but she's got something on her back. I'm not entirely sure what this would be. Would this be something that's holding like a sword, a katana, or a piece of fine art? We'll never know, I guess. We'll never know. Tara is holding a rifle, so it has nothing to do with her kit. It's just a visual thing. She is giving kind of like Old West sheriff kind of vibes, if I'm honest. Out in a town in the middle of nowhere, you know, that sort of deal. But I kind of like the look. It looks fine to me. On the left-hand side, we can see her avatar, and we do just see her face. Lots of piercings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by the looks of things. 3 in one ear, 2 in another. Lip and nose. Lots of piercings going on there. We do have her as an S-Class character, of course, and with 30 veteran ring, she has 3,944 attack, 3,409 defense, and 5,034 HP. She is considered a tank, and she is of course a tough character holding that rifle. We'll go across and look at her rush. It is called Blending In With Nature. It is a 58 AP cost rush, so extremely fast. Up to 3 teammates get camouflage and regain up to 50% of their max HP for 3 turns. While battling on the defense team, up to 2 enemies get 200% infection and 100% heal reduction for 2 turns. So the first half of this is the camouflage, just to stop you from taking damage, and the HP. This is kind of reminiscent of Marge's rush, honestly. I think Marge's rush gives camouflage and the HP heal. Very powerful. It is only 3 characters though, and the HP is going to be 150% total, 50% for 3 turns. That's 50% each turn. The second half only works when she's on a defense team. I'm not really sure why it would only work on a defense team. It doesn't seem like too crazy, but I guess they just want her utilized more on a defense team than an attack team, and they will probably see this more often than not. 2 enemies getting 200% infection for 2 turns is extremely powerful. This is very, very hard to recover from, especially on an attack team. You know, you're only going to have this on a defense team from Tara, and you just don't really run the heal power on attack to be able to deal with this. So if this goes off, those characters are most likely going to be taken out. To add to this, the 100% heal reduction, if you come up against Trader, one of the biggest problems with his rush, even if you've got focus up, is the fact that he puts 100% heal reduction onto a lot of characters. This is going to be exactly the same situation. It does mean that even if you did have the healing power, you would not be able to recover from this. So we're going to attack a team with Tara on it, and I have got her down the bottom by herself, as you can see, and you can see the sort of AP gain that she would get. I'm actually just going to do basic attacks on Rick, so he's getting all the AP. And as you can see, she gets a lot of AP, so if I would have done 1 or 2 attacks against her, she could have potentially got a first turn command rush. This turn, I am actually going to do my defense everywhere, and she will be commanded. The heal will come in, and as you can see, every single character got camouflage for 3 turns, and every single character got 50% heal. It is only to 3, so it would only be to the 3 characters that are still alive. In this case, the only 3 characters that are in the team. If you go across to the other team, you can see that Brutus and Heng Yen have both got that 200% infection and 100% heal resist. It doesn't matter what I do in this situation. I have to somehow get rid of the heal reduction and heal. And you can see on this team, I've got no heal. So I have to win in the next 2 turns to get full points. So I'm going to have to go into like the revive chain. If there is someone on the defense team that would have crosshairs or anything like that, obviously those characters would be decapped as well. So an extremely fast rush, and the first half is exactly the same as Marge's. However, Marge is guaranteed to go to herself and 2 others, whereas Tara says up to 3 teammates. It can go to herself, but it will be based on the amount of missing HP from characters most likely, or it could just be completely random. Because the camouflage comes first, it's hard to know. Now, Tara is a tough character, so she will work pretty well on Jesus defense teams, because Jesus, obviously, while he does get camouflage for the first 3 turns, it does disappear. Whereas this would bring it back up or extend it. So, you know, it goes down 1 or 2 turns, then it will be extended for a couple of characters, or for 3 characters, up to 3 again. So definitely frustrating to have Tara on a Jesus defense team in my opinion. Now with her being 58 AP, it also means that she could just have a stat weapon in her hand, exactly the same situation as Marge. She does not need to have AP on attack to get a natural rush in the same order as other characters. 2 basic attacks would equal a rush, even without AP on attack on a defense team, on her weapon or her leader. So her rush is pretty powerful. We will go across to her active just to check this out. It is Daze, Trauma and AP gain. It has an initial cooldown of 1, cooldown of 4, number of uses 5, so you can get this off ultra quick, but then it takes a long time to come back. Up to 3 enemies get Daze and 3000 trauma for 2 turns. This character gains 50% AP. So pretty straightforward how this works. Trauma will add to any other trauma amounts that you've got. So if you did use her on a Jesus defense team, that trauma would be added to the trauma that he would do on his active. The Daze stops the enemy from being able to do their active skills for 3 turns. Because it's a turn 1 active, it does mean it will stop turn 2 and beyond actives. So for instance, Princess and also Brutus. This one would be very, very frustrating to deal with, no doubt. You could potentially use her on an attack team as well, just to stop enemies from doing their first turn actives. You have got quite a lot of first turn actives now, including now Tara on top. And as a cherry on top, she does also gain 50% AP, so she will get her natural rush as if she did a basic attack this turn anyway. So we are going to attack again, and we will just lay up the attacks on Rick. We will get the stun in, so there's not going to be any command potential here, but doesn't matter, we're just utilizing Tara's active. And she does get off on Rick, Ivanova and Brutus, and that is probably the 3 best characters that she could have hit. I have done this as a test a few times. It is completely random who it hits. Ivanova's got a very nice active to boost my attack. Rick obviously has a revive if someone gets taken out, and Brutus has a normalize if I am coming up against some very dangerous specialists. So I cannot use my active skill for another 3 turns. And I also have trauma. This means that if any other control comes out from the defense team and I resist it, I will take that much damage. So every resist, I will take 3000 damage on an attack team. That is horrible. Look at the HP numbers of my characters here. 4,200, 4,000. On a defense team, that would be hard to deal with. But on an attack team, it is going to be absolutely devastating. So a very powerful controlling active and the trauma on top leads to some very big potential damage output. I would say maxing this active is generally a good way to go, just because it does give an AP bonus anyway. So it'll be as if she did a basic attack regardless. Just instead of doing a little bit of damage from a defensive character, now you're going to be controlling 3 characters and adding trauma on top of the mix, which is going to be extremely dangerous, no doubt. Now Tara is a specialist and she is an Outlast character. When this specialist is defeated, their death is delayed by 1 turn, during which they may still take an action, and they receive 100% AP. This means that as long as Tara is not controlled and that she could rush if she was alive, she would 100% rush in her Outlast state. Okay, so we are going to be coming up against a Tara team, and I'm going to get some first turn damage off against Tara herself. She is extremely tanky, even without mods, but we should be able to take her out. And she is decapped, but she still goes into an Outlast state. And she has healed her entire team here, and they've given them the buffs. And that's the way it works. Now, she did get decapped. I did fully focus her. Like I said, she has not got any mods. She took a lot of damage, all things considered, because Arav did rush her. And she got that rush off. Because I just went for pure damage and didn't go for any control, she was able to get the rush off. And now she's going to be basically buffing her teammates for the next couple of turns. Now, for instance, if I was to use the next Arav's rush and I was to focus Kapoor, it would do no damage against the Nick in front of him because they both have camouflage. So Outlast basically just gives Tara a better chance of actually getting her rush off, even if she is hard focused. And because she's a character that has no damage output, you're going to make her extremely defensive. It's going to be very hard to take her out. You saw she tanked an Arav rush without any mods, no mods at all. She can take hits. She did have leader bonus, she did have a weapon, but the mods on top would obviously add a couple of thousand HP in defense. Very, very powerful potential defensively with her stats. And Outlast is quite a nice one for a defense team because regardless, it will just extend fights for 1 turn. No matter how fast you get taken out, it will be 1 turn longer if Tara is in that team. Now, it is worth mentioning that Tara does not have an attached weapon, so you definitely can build a weapon for her. I would recommend going for a pure stat weapon, like I said at the beginning of the video. Because she has a 58 AP rush, she does not need AP at all. I mean, you could maybe go for AP on defense. It's just a bonus in case she was focused, but people could attack her on purpose to make it so that she didn't do her active first turn. So people can sort of control the fight in that situation. So I just stick to a stat weapon personally. And something like this would be perfect in her hands. 30% defense, 43% HP. That's going to bring those defensive stats way up. Elusive Impair means that if you do focus her first turn with your basic attacks, potential of getting impaired, and then a tough HP on top just makes her an all-round great defense team character. She's got heals on that rush, and she also would be bringing bonus HP on the weapon. Very powerful with a little bit of control sprinkled on top with that active. I think this character is pretty good. Is she better than World Champions 3 character Georgia? I would probably say no. However, they can work in exactly the same team. You could potentially have a heavy lead with a Marge, Tara, and a Georgia, and that last spot could be a Rick. I can definitely see that team being a thing. You've got damage output that is not going to have any chance of being cheesed by Payback with Georgia. You've got a lot of slowdown control with Tara and Marge with her weapon. And then Rick is letting people get their rushes off quicker, and AP gain from Javi. I can see that being very frustrating. Tara is a nice character. She is definitely not a game changer. She is going to be someone who needs to have other strong characters around her. But because she is the War of Champions reward, people who are going to get their hands on her have already got all the strong characters, so they will definitely see a place where this character can fit into their teams. I do not really look forward to coming up against this character because there are a couple of key active skills that I do rely on, and I don't really want to start using Dage Resist on my Brutus. First turn control is going to be extremely important against Tara, and she will be, like I said, the War of Champions 4 exclusive character that you can expect to see this World Champions weekend. What do you think about Tara though, guys? Please leave your comments down below. That is the end of my video. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.